Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, you can do it. Courtesy.
Okay.
All right, we're ready? All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the 2025 Field Summit here for Needham Park and Rec in conjunction also with the Memorial Park trustees. I know that we do have a representative from the Memorial Park trustees here right now, and there's another one that is to show up, but Mike, if you want to step in now until Bill gets here, or you just want to represent, that would be fantastic.
Mr. Keeney.
Yes, that is true. So, and I apologize about the setup. Usually we like to kind of face everybody, but due to the recording sessions and the owl, we have to kind of set it up this way. So if there are any viewers on Zoom and everything, we have to have someone of courtesy like that. For all of you that do not know me, my name is Chris Gersel. I am the current chairman of the Park and Rec Commission. We have Mike Rainey here for the Memorial Park trustees, and we also have our director of Park and Rec, Stacy Mulroy, and our assistant director, Hannah Corrigan, and we do have two representatives from the Park and Rec Commission also here, Cindy Chaston and Michelle Geddes. We are 2 members short tonight that are not here due to prior commitments, but we do have a quorum, so we will get this meeting going. We do have some just general updates that we're going to get from Ed Olson, our director of Park and Forestry, along with Stacy, some updates from Park and Rec. We do have some discussion items that we will be going over, and then just general updates on some of the items that we have. Some of them are status quo, so there are no changes, but the ones that do have changes, we will definitely bring up tonight. Before we all do that, though, we always do it as kind of a tradition. If everybody that is in the room could please raise their hand and signify who you are and what user group that you're representing. I would also ask at the end of the night that you make sure you leave your contact information with Dominic, who is taking notes tonight, to make sure that we have everybody's accurate contact information, not only for their user group, but who we need to reach out to make sure that we do have the correct person, because we do know that positions change and people leave, and we want to make sure we're communicating to the right person. So I'll start with the left side of the room and then work our way over.
Brendan Moyer, Needham Girls Youth Lacrosse. Mark Beaumont, Needham Soccer Club.
Mark Miskin, Needham Soccer Club.
Edward Olson, Superintendent Parks and Forestry.
Will Power Ranger. Al Shapiro, Cal, Colette Stockholm.
Jeff Alexander, Needham Christie.
Eric Backstrand, here on behalf of George Agate Road, Sutton Road, and Canterbury Way, neighborhood.
Ronnie Dunstler, representing the Needham Cricket Club.
Lee Hoffer, adult soccer.
Andrew Fink, Needham Baseball Softball.
Darren Key, Needham soccer.
Perfect. All right, so we'll kind of go into, Mike, anything from the Memorial Park trustees that you'd like to communicate and kind of get out now, or just kind of speak when you'd like to?
No, we'll mix it.
Okay, perfect. Now we will go to Ed Olson. Ed, if you want to stand, sit, whatever your preference is, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. Yes, so I'm Edward Olson, Superintendent of Parks and Forestry. We are a small team. We try our best to make sure that you all have the best fields anywhere around. We take a lot of pride in our fields. I've been here for 14 years, and a lot has changed over the 14 years that I've been here. I was at CPC, the Community Preservation Committee, the other night trying to sell our next big capital project. And I think we're very fortunate to live in this town. It's dedicated so much money, time, and resources to the fields. In my time, we've done about 14 multi-million-dollar projects here, including 2 truck renovations. Just last year, we did McLeod Field, girls softball field for varsity, the lights. We renovated the track a couple of years ago. We're on Claxton right now. We did cricket a couple of years ago. We rebuilt Walker Court. We rebuilt Greens Field. Ace of Small, tennis courts, baseball field. On and on it goes. So I'm very fortunate and lucky to work in a community, live in a community with my family that has dedicated so much resources to preservation of open space. And I think I've had a small part to do that. So I want to let you know that I'm dedicated to producing the best conditions. My team and I are very dedicated. We're a small group. With two different divisions, our forestry division is 4 of our 16 total workers. And we have about 12 on the park side, so we're small. We do it all, irrigate, cut the grass, weed whack, groom the fields, get the games ready for our high school athletics, for youth groups. And most of all, we listen to you guys and we try to collaborate. I can't imagine the amount of hours I've been on the phone with Mark Miskin through the years, Dave Galante, and others of the parents and torches for your groups. And it's my pleasure to be here tonight and say hello. Couple things I want to talk about. So our jobs are pretty tough. We're trying to produce conditions, have fields that have grass on them, safe for the kids. It's tougher when sometimes you work against each other. You leave fields with a mass distraction, pick up, and things that we'd rather be doing else otherwise. I think it's gotten better through the years. We always ask that we're in it to win it for all of us. We're team members, but you all are the biggest team members. If we don't have your support and teach those learning lessons to the kids out there, then we're beyond the 8 ball right off the get-go. As I said, we're always thinking about the next field renovations. Stacy and I are working on a 5-year master plan. This is my 3rd iteration of that, so 15 years in my job. And we're now to a point where we're getting down to the field we never thought we'd get to. In fact, when I say that, the reason why we're before design, CPC the other night was to rehab the rail trail, our bike path amenity in town, and to ask for design funds to re-explore what we can do with Elliott School, playground, basketball courts, and play. It might not sound like much, but there's 400 kids there, we can do better. The field was an afterthought when they built that school, and I think we're going in there now to the new thought to make that a more accessible, sustainable vision for both the school population, the permit groups, need an extended day program, and Park and Rec. We have summer camps out there. We're always kind of thinking about what's next and working on those things. I thank you all for your help, support, and your collaboration. And the last thing I'd say is, working on the trash, that's a big win for us. We can help with that. The other thing is equipment. Oftentimes I find equipment, and I might pick on baseball, sorry, Andrew. But, I'll find carcasses of, even lacrosse, carcasses of broken lacrosse frames everywhere. And it's like, hey, guys, just text me, email me, say, hey, we got broken equipment, pick it up for whatever. Don't need it out there like a Mad Max film where there's just broken equipment everywhere. Let us know. Collaborate with us. The other night, respect your equipment, put it back, pick up, have the team help you with that. Put the tops back in the mount. And this goes for all the sports. Oftentimes what I see, because I'm a parent and I'm out there all the time with my own kids, I see mass confusion, and then the next group comes in and the soccer goal becomes a lacrosse net. Or a lacrosse net becomes a soccer goal, and we destroy each other's equipment. That stuff has to end. We have to respect each other's equipment and be smart out there. It's a shame to see things get destroyed and then to hear, well, let's need them, we'll just buy something then. Oh, why? Let's just respect what we have out there and try to do better by each other's groups. It's a win-win-win for all of us. I think that's all I have. I could go on and on. But, question, so I did, Mark. Claxton, so yeah, so we were talking about capital this year. We've been working on Claxton. We just called it a winter out there because the ground's pretty much frozen now, but we've made an incredible headway over there. As soon as the weather breaks again, we're gonna be basically doing all the topical touches. We got the infrastructure in there, we got the lights up with the backstops. The next will be all the accoutrements, meaning the drainage stone, the root stone, grading, sodding, plantings, pathways, and the final touches. We do believe from hearing from our general contractor, MJ Cataldo, who we worked on 7 or 8 big jobs on, that he anticipates being out there as early as May. And we're talking about, as we always do, basically open it right up. I think I remember the cricket field renovation was a lot of our projects are summer slam, where we have to basically take the field offline, make the Disney magic happen in 2 months, and then we're ready for fall sports. So cricket was a slam bam project, and we started that field, and we had varsity soccer on it the day after we laid the big roll side. So I'd love to rest fields. I think if we could do a lot of resting fields, but I also realize in this community, we are so busy, we have so many programs. The 14 years I've been here, the programs have increased, I'd say 5-fold now. So We realize we don't have enough open space, we're doing the best we can by keeping things online as much as possible. Back in the days, the Park and Rec Commission knows, we actually used to have a rest period where we rest all the fields. I haven't heard that word used in probably 10 years, Cindy, so there is no rest anymore, so again. With that being said, we need to help each other out even more. I'll pick on Mark now. Soccer, the biggest thing that I tell coaches all the time, and Lou helps me out there at night, is think of your field, think like a turf grass manager. If you're out there running drills, don't do it in the game field. Slide over 2 feet, just look at the field, say, this is ball here, oh, look how lush the grass is. Set up the cones, and just think, if I do it here, nobody's gonna know. If I do it here where it's already set, then now people are gonna be on the phone with that, watch the field dead. So it's just trying to think about those little practices, and I think we're all in. So I appreciate your help and support, and I look forward to a better 2025.
So,
Thank you.
and sorry, one quick question, if
Yeah.
it's not the right time. So you mentioned nets and all of that, and I'll preface because I don't think it's a program issue with anyone. I think it's sometimes that time between schools and programs, but I know, for instance, and it may be a discussion about structure. You go to Brock, for instance, where we do lacrosse. And even though soccer hasn't actually played during that time, there's 2, 3, 4 large soccer nets on the field. And again, we all know it's probably all of our kids playing in between. But we go there with 1 or 2 coaches for practice. And we have to spend all this time moving nets. And my comment more is, it's not about having to do that, it's about the way the field's set up. Your also cross field is the red lines that goes to within a foot of the fence. So you can't even push them back. So they're easy to access. You've got to push them all the way to the side. So we just love a discussion of how we can kind of help each other out. Because it becomes a real problem, particularly on game days too, like you said, it's chaos moving all these nets and you gotta push them into the grass and we feel bad. Dumping them over there because someone's gonna move them back when they need them, but it is a big.
It's cumbersome, it's difficult, and it's, accidents can happen, like you said, if you don't know what you're doing pulling on that, you can cut the turf, and I'll pick on Dan Lee, our former athletic director. Dan one day decided to drag a lacrosse net across the entire turf field to the phase hill, not realizing he was cutting the carpet the entire way. And I got out there and I said, oh my God, Dan, what were you doing? He said, I didn't even realize. I said, here's how you drag a net, so it's flat and you're realizing that it has sharp edges. So we had to pay for that repair. And so how we get better at those things, I guess this is part of the summit, but it's just something that I see a lot. And as a kid that grew up in Brockton, lives in Needham now, to see the wastefulness of wrecking stuff out there pains me, just and the mentality of it's Needham with his body, but throw it away and get a whole new set of field hockey nets. It's like, well, man, why don't we just store them over off the field and not let the kids destroy them? So it's something that's. Thank you. Discussable.
Yeah, I think it's not.
No, yeah, I see it all the time.
Yeah, and I think long term, as you look at infrastructure, maybe if you move the nets on the ends back, you can just push everyone's nets off. As opposed to your nets.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
Oh, we got one more question.
Following up on that, because now I'm worried, I don't want damage to the fields, can we get information on how to move them correctly so the fields don't get damaged?
Sure, I mean, I'd even meet with the groups out there, I mean, it's pretty, I wanna say self-explanatory, it's just being aware, like I said, a lot of people do things, and they're just not being mindful to say, boy, there's wheels on these nets. You shake up the frame, the wheel comes over, I mean, it's pretty simple, but like I said, I'd be more than willing to show you guys, or if anybody would wanna meet with me. The other thing we talked about before, and I'll go back to Andrew, is I've offered like a spring field prep for coaches for baseball, softball, to say, hey, if there's a puddle. And I'm gonna pick, a lot of times guys will just room the puddle off into the grass, and that just takes the clay and makes the puddle worse the next time. So instead of saying, hey, surface, put it in, scrape it up, the absorbent takes care of it. That's how you do a game prep. So I'd love to do a field exercise where we could go over a lot of these things, and maybe we could organize that for the spring. I think that'd be great. Need contacts and kind of show you the 1, 2, 3s, that's what grass management and some pointers out there. Absolutely.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you, Ed. Stacy.
I will talk along as we go with the slides, back and forth. I'll bounce back and forth. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, got it. So nothing to start off?
Nothing to start off.
All right, perfect. All right, some discussion items that we've got to bring up for this year and going forward. This is something that we're always going to have on our agenda, trash. There's no easy way to fix it. No one's gonna snap their fingers and make it go away. It's something that's always going to be on our agenda. And it's always gonna be brought up. We just all need to be better. I mean, there are certain days that Eddie and Woo, that half their day is picking up trash. That if we want our fields to look the way that they are, Eddie has to do his job and Woo has to do his job. They don't work for the RTS. They work for the town to make the fields as beautiful as they are. And I'm not saying that just because Eddie's here. That we all gotta be better, that it's the whole carry in, carry out, that if you walk in with a water bottle, you should be walking out with that same water bottle, not leaving it there. That we know a lot of the times, it's not just us also. We know that there are out of town guests coming, there are out of town teams, that's where we're gonna rely on over communicating to the teams that you're playing. If they're in town or out of town, just over communicate, you gotta be better, because the only way the fields are looking good is because when they can have time dedicated to it. It's always that special days when Eddie kind of grabs you and you got to go help pick up trash. I know Eddie's had me a few times, dropped my kids off at school and stopped, and then we picked up trash for half an hour. They could be doing more, constructive items than picking up trash. But again, that's something that we know is always gonna be there. There's no magic thing to make it go away. The other thing is, we know the half days of school kill us. That you have youth going to the fields and they use it as their own personal trash bin. And it can't be happening. We know about it. We're going to address it with the younger schools. We mostly see it at Memorial, just because it's the cool place to hang out. That we can't have that happening. We're gonna talk to the schools and say, we gotta find something else. I know that on our call list, we have our athletic director and assistant director for the high school here, that they're talking about doing half-day programs with the kids, so they're not trashing the fields. Again, it's something to be proactive instead of reactive. So we're trying anything and everything that's out there. So any help that we can get from you folks, we're always taking it. And any suggestions people have, please give them to us. The next, I hate to say it, the next one's gonna be kind of a big one, and there's 3 caveats to this. The first one, I'm actually kind of very disappointed that I have to bring up first, but might as well just rip the Band-Aid off. We're not the parking lots at Gillette Stadium. There is no tailgating at any of our parking lots. I don't care what sport is there. I don't care if the kids can't see you, as an answer that was given to me. There is no tailgating in any of our parking lots. If we find a user group that violates this, they will lose their permits immediately. I don't care if it's the first day of the season or the last day of the season. There is no tailgating. I don't need any picking up regular trash. I especially don't need other people picking up tall boys and Modelo's, sitting in the parking lot with cigarette butts all around. So if you got caught, you're going to lose your permit. And I don't want to bring it up again. The other thing in regards to DeFazio parking lot, we know it's at maximum capacity. That when you have youth sports that are coming in at say 5:15, you have your high school sports ending at the same time. Turns into a cluster F a lot of times because you have a lot of traffic going through there. What we need your user groups to do is to obey the traffic laws, if I can word it that way. If it says do not enter in one way, don't drive through it. Follow the arrows that go around. If you see cars that are all parking horizontal, you park horizontal. If you think it's cool parking vertically and taking up more spots, you're gonna get towed. That we gotta maximize the space that's there. I know it was a big ask this year because there was a lot of construction going on 135 where they were paving and put up the granite curbs, and that was used for the staging site. So there are a lot of construction vehicles there that were taking up valuable spots. We're gonna work with the DPW that we can kind of section off an area that if it does need to get used, it's used and it's not in the middle of the parking lot. But we need you folks to communicate to your user groups that you gotta follow the rules. That if it says bus parking only, don't park your car there, because again, you're gonna get towed. The third part of this is courtesy to the neighbors, courtesy to anyone in the neighborhoods that we're hearing people are parking for places where they shouldn't really be parking. Yes, it might be convenient for you to park on the side street just because you can walk across the street to watch your kid's game. that's not being courteous to the neighbors, because they pay a good amount of money for their property, that people parking on it and leaving their cars there just because it's very convenient for them, in my opinion, is very selfish. That everyone else has to park in the parking lot, why can't you? So if you could please, at all of the parks, that all the side seats that surround it, just make it a little better effort that you're not parking on streets that you really shouldn't be doing. Park in the assigned areas that we have parking. And again, I know it's stressful and it's tight sometimes. We all gotta do better. Because it's the neighborhoods that are out there that it's not working and it needs to be fixed. Okay? The next thing we have permit request and process. Stacy, I'll let you handle that one as I throw that down.
That was aggressive.
Yes. Sorry, Harriet.
It's aggressive.
Yes.
So, for those of you that don't know,
Yes.
my name is Stacey Muller, I'm the Director of Park and Recreation. We're just gonna talk about permit request processes, and giving back time and space. So we've got a few different ways to request fields. Most of you, if you haven't already, have requested the season, permit. So if you haven't done it yet, please, reach out to me if you can't find the link. It was broken for a few days, so we're hoping it's fixed, but if you don't find it, let me know and we can send you the internal link to fill out this form. So this is for our full season. The next one is our special event. So this is your 1-day special event forms. We're also gonna put in camps and clinics on this one. So if you're running a summer camper clinic, it's gonna go on this form. The Google link is down below and we'll send these slides out along with all the links so you guys have them all. So this is for like a 1-day program, a 1-day or a 3-day camp or clinic, whatever it might be. This is also the same form like our PTOs fill out when they're having, popsicle night at Mitchell or whatever it is they have. Feel free to stop me at any time if there's any confusion. So there's an outdoor form and there's an indoor form. We originally thought we were gonna go all on the same form, and it turns out the indoor form, this building permit form, is terrible for fields. It does not work at all, and it's a really clunky situation.
I'm just gonna interject, you're not sharing this with the Zoom people. I apologize.
Anyway, so if you want to rent this room or a space inside Memorial, specifically the upper, you're gonna go to the town of Needham page, their building rentals. This link is also in this slide, so I'll be able to send that to you as well. Where am I? Sorry, people online. You missed all the pretty pictures. Okay. Hold on a minute. 5%. Online technology. All right, light request form, if you haven't done that yet, which probably you haven't, because you don't know. It's another Google form, another link. I don't know if we used this last year, if we just did email, but this is the link that we wanted for using. Specifically, if it's like, I need every Tuesday and Thursday from dawn until dusk till 9 p.m., please, from this date to this date. If it's a one-off game or a makeup game, you can email Hannah or I, we can set them up ahead of time.
Keyword ahead of time.
Preferably not at
The day
6:45 for a 7 o'clock game, but. We understand things get rescheduled, so if those things happen, just shoot us an email or a text. Especially if it's on the weekend, you should all have our texts, our work cells. We can now turn on and off all the lights in town. So when Claxton comes online, that is also gonna be on the Musco system, so all of our lights in town are on one app. Every user group should have one person or one username. You have the ability to turn off the lights during your permit. So Mark, if you book Friday night until 9 and the game ends at 8, you can go on your app and turn them on. So every single user group that uses lights can have access to turn the lights off, because if the lights stay on until you're not using them, you're still getting charged for them. If you don't have that, please reach out to Hannah or I, we can set you up with it. Some people have been set up for a long time and don't really know how to use it. We can walk you through that process if you need it. But it's pretty it's pretty simple, and it's a lot easier for us because we don't have to drive in an angle, we can just flip the lights. I will say, the lights at the DeFazio turf and the Memorial turf are not LEDs, which means if they turn off, they have to cool down before you can turn them back on. So there's like a good 20 minutes in between there. The new lights at McLeod and Claxton, they're all LEDs. So they can go on and off more like a switch than the old ones. And as we do projects, we'll start upgrading all of them to LEDs, but it is not a inexpensive endeavor. So we're doing them as we go. Summer camps and clinics. Again, if you are planning on having summer camps, that special event form, clinics, the sooner you can get these requested to us, the better, so that we can work with Eddie and his team. Summer is the time where we start to like do a lot more on the, or he does, not me, work on the field so that we can move around your camps more effectively. The sooner the better. And lastly, and I don't know that I had a slide for it. Oh, but Lou, you're up next. No, was giving back time. So we noticed that if some people are trading time or subletting time to nonprofits to have them run clinics and camps for you. In the field manual, which you should all have, and I know you've all read, we don't allow that. You pulled the permit for your group. So your group should be on the field. Woo has reached out to us numerous times saying, hey, we got this group on the field, but they're not on the permit schedule. What do I do? We need to know if you're not using it so that we can very equitably ask, say, if like all of a sudden we're not using on a Sunday morning, I can reach out to the whole group and say, hey, Sunday morning at Memorial is available. Does anybody want it? But you shouldn't be trading in between. That's not part of the thing. And it kept happening over and over. My bigger concern, and I think the commission's bigger concern, is the subletting to nonprofits. That is 100% not part of the deal. We don't actually rent our fields to for-profit groups. We don't do it. We don't have the time or the space. We don't have the time or space for you. And we do not allow anybody to make money off of taxpayers' dollars. So we want to make sure that you're not subletting to some for-profit group. I know it's happening and it needs to stop.
We found a group this year was not any permits we had, they were using the umbrella of the group. But they were a for-profit group, we couldn't get a roster, we didn't know if they had insurance, and I think they were relying on the major group for their insurance, but we didn't know who they were. We couldn't get any information, let me find if they were for-profit, and that's not what we do, so we would ask them, please don't do that.
Also,
Don't sublet.
just to reiterate, that means group to group in Needham as well. So like if a soccer has time that they're willing to give up or they don't need it for any reason, they can't just text a baseball, I know examples, but like they can't do that. The process is in that field manual that you are letting Park and Rec know. That way we can give it up to the group that might need it, or we get those conflict emails that you'll be getting eventually. We can give it to maybe the next person that requested it. So that's also part of that process. So, and it holds us accountable too, because when we're giving Woo, the park ranger, the schedule, we want him to know like up to date what he's looking for, because if it's not up to date, there's a chance that he could be like, you're not on the permit. So it's holding everyone accountable.
Yeah.
So in a scenario, we go to say girls with boys lacrosse and ask, do you have any open space? And they might say yes or no. Is it okay? Because it's really them having those fields that they're using that we're interested in. We're copying you, your department on the exchange. Is that okay?
It's not equitable because you might reach out because you know maybe lacrosse has some space, but there's other groups that want those same fields. They're not getting them. And there's no reason you should have direct access just because you asked the question. So that's why we're asking, if you're not using the field, let us know so that we can go out to the groups and say, does anybody want this? Because then it becomes an imbalance of you guys just trading back and forth, and I get that it's a lot easier and a lot faster, but it's not a, and that's what we're trying to achieve here.
So, sorry for a scenario today, but just, for example, we've had situations before where Friday night, pouring with rain, and I can maybe send a text or a lacrosse group, for example, but you guys using the turf tomorrow, and say no, so we get 2 or 3 games and then we will cancel. But you're saying we can't do that, because those fields are then probably stay empty potentially, we have to cancel.
Right, no, I hear what you're saying. I still think it needs to come back to us, cause again, Woo has a ledger that says you're not supposed to be there. And he's gonna come and talk to your coaches and say you can't be here, and, you know, it's hard to kick teams off fields, because in the end, it's the kids that pay and not the coaches or the groups, and I don't wanna do that to the children, but what I do want is for us, like, if you know it's gonna be a rain out, I don't have any problem reaching out to, like, sending the email for you, Mark, and saying like, hey, anybody that's on turf tomorrow, if you're not using it, soccer needs to reschedule 5 games. It puts a lot more onus on us, but it also allows us to know who is where and when. And in the next reiteration of fees in 3 years or so, we're also gonna charge by the hour. So this is gonna come into play more and more and more. We need to know who's on the field so we can charge appropriately.
So this isn't changed, because we have lots of times had that trading go on, because groups work cooperatively. But our problem this year, this past year, was we had some complaints from groups who said, hey, I know some group used this, they weren't on the permit. I know they're trading back and forth, but my group would have liked to be out there. Why can't we know about that? Why can't we know when there's available space? Which is why this came up, because we did used to have these trades. I remember years back, when I used to sit at tables and. Right, right, we appreciate you did these trades, but now we have groups saying like, hey, you know, we needed more space, and if it was available, why didn't we get a crack at it?
So I get that, but if, like Mark's scenario, if it's last minute. Then there's a good chance those fields go empty,
If I can.
or games get canceled.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Okay.
Yeah.
Mark, we had a real scenario this year, so I played in Al's softball league, and all of a sudden, Claxton is a part of there. And so we had no place to play yet, we had a permit for Claxton for the remainder of the year. So I called Stacy, I said, here's the problem. And one night, we just aggressively, we went to McLeod. And now you have a bunch of guys who can hit a ball pretty far, you know, it wasn't ideal. So I called Stacy and I said, what should we do? And whatever you did, ticky tack, she arranged it so that now I gave her the remaining games and she set it up for that. So it really was easy.
I can understand last minute is difficult to not just reach out and say, hey, is there that possibility? And I can understand that that has to happen in the moment, but we still need to be aware of it. So if that's happening, we need to know so that I can then be like, hey, Woo, there's a switch, or like if there's lights involved, we need to switch the lights so that you're not getting charged for lacrosse using it or vice versa. So there are some administrative things that, like, trust me, I don't want to be called at 8 o'clock at night on a Friday just to be like, hey, do you have any space? But we, at the same time, we still need to know. At the end of the day, we're responsible who's on our fields, and we need to make sure that we're aware, so. If it's a super last minute, I can see why you just reach out, especially when it's weather dependent, but we still need to know some. The next couple things are just general updates, so I'm gonna go through them quickly. If you have any questions, raise your hand. If you don't know him already, Woo is in the audience, and I'll let him talk in a minute, but he talks more than Ed. So we have to like shrink his time, so I'm gonna go through some of the things, so. Woo is kind of all over the place, so he helps identify where the trash is, he does pick it up. He somehow gets kids on half days to help him pick up trash, so if your kids are not picking up trash at your house, maybe you should talk to Woo. But the other thing is he spends his time driving around making sure that this gentleman is not, or somebody, not this particular gentleman, although he is a repeat customer, isn't playing golf on our fields and wrecking cricket. We've got people out here doing private, training, making money off of our fields. Woo's talking to them. This is a dog walker somewhere that Woo talked to.
Perry.
Well, there's Perry, And then this right here is, some parking where we ask people not to park, so. We wanna make sure, like, Woo is not just checking permits, and Woo's definitely not there to check on trash or pick up trash. And then he also did this unbeknownst to me, but I did get these pictures. The top ones are the befores, the bottom ones are the afters. This is the storage area over at DeFazio. Is that right, Will? So he does a lot. He's kind of everywhere. In fact, the golf guy, I think, said to Woo this week, why are you everywhere? Because, well, there's not a lot of work, there's not a lot of fit people on the field now, so he kind of sticks out, but. Woo's around, so we wanna make sure that we're supporting him. Woo, do you have anything you wanna pipe in? Like, you got like 3 minutes, buddy. Okay.
Start the clock.
I've been very relevant in the sport in healthy, like, the upper and like the field, needed like field, everybody had. So I just want to mention is like, because we have like, as a, we have put a lot of money in the field. We need to care together, walk together, keep the field pretty, and then the kids enjoy it. That's my point, and everything, like, we have the permit, the same thing, like. You guys don't want like private training on field, and then you guys can use it, right? So I would say this year is lower than last year. It's good, it's pretty more, it's better than we, maybe they know me, when they see me, it's like. Oh, wait, oh, that guy look good, something like that, but it's not very well, like I say, anything let me know, if like you feel like you coach, I know a lot of coach. And then if you need help, then you know, I'm very treasured to help. Then send a message to Ed or Stacy or Chris, everybody can work together. Yeah, just let me know. Thank you.
The one thing I also bring up about Woo is that, as you know, he has the full support behind him of the Park and Rec Commission and staff. He also has the full support of the Memorial Park trustees behind him. But the biggest one that I hope he doesn't have to exercise, he has the full support of the police. Is that we've had incidents where the police had to be called because Woo's gone up to people multiple times and warned them, and the police had to get involved, and the police rectified the situation. Person didn't think the situation was gonna go there, but he has the full support of all those things. Then again, hopefully it doesn't have to go to that, but he is the extension of all of us, and I hate to say it, his word is his word, because he's backing us up.
Well, just add that if there's somebody out there doing soccer trainings, and I haven't permitted the space. The parking lot, they're not in soccer.
Yeah. No, cause sometimes I'll get a picture and say, Mark, do you know this person?
Right.
And he's like, nope, and then we'll go down and take care of it,
So it's only our people that are supposed to be out there in space. Anyone else that isn't, feel free to.
I don't know what the process here to see if they came in, but I know they had started an email maybe late last year about, I think it went to maybe soccer or lacrosse groups, a few others about maybe putting together a group that can help with a lot of these issues, like DeFazio, not as much as what you guys do Memorial, but like a Friends of DeFazio type of thing, given all the stuff going on. I don't know if there's any traction on that.
I wasn't on those emails. I think it was on the user groups.
Okay,
I would be in full support of that, because I think it would be helpful. The more people can police themselves, actually, the better than us coming in and trying to do it. People tend to fare better when their peers are policing them than when we are. So I'd be happy to support that, and we can talk offline about
yeah.
me reaching out and setting it up.
I know they were saying, I don't know who they sent it to.
Okay,
Yeah,
great. This is a very busy slot. Ed,
Just to build upon that, I mean, a lot of you guys have young athletes that need to get community service hours, and, yeah, I think you're thinking like along those lines would be great to look at some of these things to give back. We had townwide cleanup days as well, where, you know, to get the kids involved, do some dog parks. And I think soccer, you guys have passed, we've done some Arbor Day plantings and some cleanup projects, so yeah, we always welcome that, and I think the last one is, one that really pains me is the mural that we painted at Pollard. I spent probably hundreds of hours cleaning up their graffiti, painting that, and to see that get desecrated again, just kills me. So at some point, we're gonna have to scrub that with the neighborhood or the kids or whatever, and hand scrub all the nonsense that was littered upon that beautiful decorative mural that we spent like I said, countless hours with a lot of volunteer hours and just a shame to see stuff like that happen like that.
Thank you, Ed. Outstanding balances, so, in April of this year, we welcomed Nikki Witham to our department. We kind of stole her from accounting, so we finally, after many years, have somebody, in the finance wing of our department that is taking over and leading the charge for our, field use, invoicing and billing. That being said, there were more holes than I was aware of, so we are looking back and making sure that everybody has paid. And that it is in our system correctly. We're revamping our system to make sure that we can pull up your organizational accounts separate from your personal accounts on our MyRec system, so that you can go in as the organizer, log in and see when you paid, how much you paid, and what you paid for. The department is working on that all this week. Also, Nikki has created an SOP, so a standard operating procedure for field invoicing. So all of you on pretty much the same day got the email that said, hey, send me your rosters. As they came in, she sent out the invoices. At the end of the season, she updated the invoices with light usage. We still have a few that are outstanding, and I think Nikki reached out last week to make sure, so if you see an email from her, please reach out. We can now accept payment online, so if you're looking for those frequent flyer miles, you can pay by credit card. You're still welcome to pay by check, but you can log in from your house, or you can come into the office and pay by credit card.
Just quick on that, the money that we collect for the athletic, for the user fees, that's pretty much Ed's budget right there. That helps make the fields look good, so the less the budget is, the less the fields can look good. So bigger the budget, the bigger the field, the better the fields.
Yeah, and the other thing is if there's a lot of changeover, if we don't have the right contact information, those emails can be going to the wrong person. So make sure that you reach out, you update your contact information with us so that we have the right stuff, so that we're sending you the right stuff. And I talked about the stuff, like I collect all the fees, but every spring Ed gives me a bill that wipes out 3/4 of the money that you send me, so that he can continue to take care of the fields. So it doesn't sit in a pot in Park and Rec's budget, it goes directly back into the fields, that's what it's for. So if we're not getting the money, if we missed billing you, or, we didn't charge you one season, it doesn't mean that it is all of a sudden free, it means we missed something. Either it's on us, or we have the wrong email, or something happened. But it means that Ed has less money to work with. And the prices keep increasing, but that bill hasn't gone down since I started, it keeps creeping up, so. Just please make sure, if you are unsure, we are spending the week digging through everything, the entire department, to fix what I thought had been fixed, but now that Nikki is with us, moving forward, it should be a slim number.
In terms of the online payment too, if you're not familiar with MyRec, we're more than willing to help you. It's as easy as talking to us on the phone, like we can make you part of a bill payer of your organization, it's pretty simple. So like give us a call, or we can email back and forth and help you out too.
And then quickly, these are the things that we hope that you guys are already doing. I imagine that most groups have kids, even the adult groups. There's free concussion training. Public health is really pushing out there that they're gonna make it an actual requirement, that if you don't already do it, you probably should. So the CDC has their own concussion training, first aid and CPR training. The Public Health is now holding regular CPR trainings. So you can take them here. You can register online for them. Also, you can go to the Red Cross or American Heart Association. They're everywhere. If there's a group, like if you want to get first aid for 10 of your coaches, reach out to us and we can help you set up a specific class for your group. That's you, buddy, because
I can.
Hannah's now certified to teach CPR. And then safety checks. Part of your permit is to tell us that all of your coaches that work with children specifically have been Corey storied or some other background check. I know US Track Association and some others have a different one that they require people to do. I just want to make sure that we're doing background checks on our coaches, all of them. So whether it's a part-time coach or an assistant coach, everybody should be getting a background check.
Is that probably over Corey?
No, that's Corey,
Okay.
yes.
Because some of our leagues make us do.
No, so we
That is-
require Corey. Nobody does Corey because that's really just camps, but Corey, and we can't look at them. So we rely on you to run them and then say, yep, I have Corey all of our coaches and they have passed, or whatever it is.
And I think we all know on this, those are not transferable. So if you coach multiple sports, you gotta do one for lacrosse, do one for soccer, do one for track. It's not transferable.
Ed touched on this a little bit, our capital projects right now, Claxton Field. So the actual field project that is on pause right now. Tennis courts are going out to bid. I know this doesn't affect the fields, but it's very exciting for the town. Tennis courts are going out to bid in the next couple of weeks. So that you might see some construction vehicles up there as early as March or April of this year. The big construction will be obviously during the summer. And Ed talked about Elliott. The other thing, we are pushing for design funds from the CPC. And capital is the active rec project. So we're looking to do a action sports park in the quarry of Claxton. That's a fancy term for skate park. It's all encompassing wheels. And then also some pickleball courts all at Claxton, with some upgraded parking. So, Claxton is turning into the hub of Needham when it comes to athletic facilities, but that is coming down the pipeline as well. This is just a reminder that field status updates, you can sign up to be notified when we send out the field closures, the field whatever, things like that. You can get, actually, there's a lot of different updates you can sign up for. Field status updates are here. You'll get these slides so you can get the links. And I'm pretty sure most of these links are already hyperlinked, so you can just click on them right from the slides. And that's it for me. Does anybody have any questions? I'm gonna stop sharing, so if there's any questions online. Chris, I don't know if there's anything else you wanna add?
No, I mean, I know we threw a lot at everybody tonight. I mean, some of the stuff is second nature, we've already been going through it, but the other things that we discussed. We need everybody to step up the game. Like I said, with the trash, it's always gonna be there, but with the tailgating thing. I don't ever want to have a conversation about that again. And just, being better at what we do is that we're very fortunate to have the fields and have this ability to have all these sports. As Ed said, we've seen programs grow by 5 times. That means that the people running the programs, like the folks represented here tonight, you folks are doing something right. You're growing your programs, which is a great thing. But we're not making more fields. So we're trying to fit in as many user groups as we can. We have new groups coming up every single year that everyone's got to have their fair share, of usage and put things that we can do. So we appreciate the effort that everyone's putting into it and just over communicate and communicate as much as you can with us. Anything from Memorial Park trustees?
Quick question, is there any discussion of the capital project?
Yeah. You want to go first? You want me to go?
I'm happy to go. So it is within the 5-year plan. The small caveat is that the Pollard School is looking at AZO as a potential site for the new school through the MSBC. So we're waiting to do, like, we had an actual playground project that was due to go there. Everything's kind of on pause until the school picks a site. So they don't pick the Fazio, fingers crossed. Then it's around 27 or 28 that it's in the capital projects. So yes, it's within the 5-year plan. If they do, that's a whole different story.
So there's no point in having gentlemen who's trying to get together with a group of us to see if we could be like friends of the building. Help build something new. there's no point.
Not until we get the decision on the schools, which
Any idea when that might be? Do they have any timeline?
I haven't heard any timeline yet, but I do know that they're going back to look at it again.
What potentially happens if that is a yes?
It's a great question. So, the school, so one of the things that is fun in town is to try to figure out who owns what land. And I can tell you for the DeFazio, any field is owned by Park and Rec. Parking lot and the tot lot are owned by school committee. So they are able to look at that area as a potential school.
In the select board.
Select- Yes.
Yeah, select board's over there, there's another sliver that the select board owns over closer to the fuel tank, and across from the fuel tank. The DPW fill up, so, it could affect us, it could affect DPW's. phase 2 of their building, so we just don't know, and it's just super fun waiting game.
When those fields were constructed, we knew that it was a possibility long-term that they may use it, the schools may use it. So we wouldn't, and my understanding is, right, we wouldn't lose the whole facility, but it would seriously impact what we do there for recreation. But we always knew that was a possibility, but the Field of Dreams was 2007. Fingers crossed.
The only thing that I would like to reiterate last is that technically the past year, the fields have been more my realm of this job and coming in, so anything that you're sending to Stacy and you're not including me, it's probably already gonna get forwarded to me. So if you could just kindly connect me and like keep me on the email chains, that way I know. If there's any questions that you guys have, like feel free to call me, like she said, and whatnot, but just keeping me on the chain, that way I know. And then the only last thing, if there's no other questions. One more, we got a little bit of time, but
Just, yeah, no, sorry. So March 31st is Monday and then April 1st, usually the opening fields if they're available to open. It's Tuesday, is there any way we could adapt to March 31st that we need to open fields if they're.
I was gonna say, well, my first response is, that's the date you shoot for, it is not a promised date. Because it depends on weather, it depends on the Ed's team, depends on the fields. Ed and I will talk daily, moving up to that point, but it'll be week of decision, if not. If we're lucky, we'll know 2 weeks ahead if we're on track, but it just really depends on what happens with the weather.
Right.
I don't see a problem moving it up one day, but, it could be moving it back 2 weeks as
Right.
well, so, but yeah, it's not. April 1st is just a day we shoot for, and it never falls, once every 7 years, it falls on the right day, but other than that, we just work with it.
Can there be a different determination for grass versus turf? If like every year we have this discussion and we're holding off fields because of grass, but turf is, you can use turf, you run pretty much. But
So-
I'm saying that because look at me, but I feel like we wait on the turf and we could be there weeks early.
So one of the things that we save the turf for is the high school athletics, by the MIA rules, does start practicing in March. And we move all of their sports to the turf fields as much as humanly possible, so that they don't affect the grass. So it's not that they're not free, but they are quite busy, like Ryan does a good job trying to get as many of his teams on turf so that it gives the grass the last couple of days. Yes.
any-
Eric, oops, sorry, I know you raised your hand, so.
And I see we're up against this, I'll be quick. So my name's Eric Baxter, for those who can relate, I'm a resident of George Aggie Road. I live within eyesight of DeFazio, which looks great every day. That's the, hopefully it doesn't go anywhere. It's, MSBA is the state agency that would be involved with the policy. You can go to their website. They usually have like a 30,000 foot schedule view on where they are in the process. So if you're looking, if you go on there, you should be able to see, is it still in site selection, is it move forward? But beyond that, thank you for mentioning, Chris, the concerns that the neighborhood has had about parking there. The number one concern is safety. When the street gets congested with cars, when it happens quickly. There's a lot of kids, who my 8-year-old, that live in that neighborhood. you can't see around corners, you can't see between cars. We've had a bus that tried to get down and couldn't and had it back out on the 135. That's been the primary concern for all of us. We love the limit. I wish the parking lot across the street was better, was bigger, and was more attractive to everybody that uses that park. But what happens when the neighborhood gets overwhelmed? I send Chris and Stacy emails and then on rare occasions, we have residents getting shouted at by people that are parking, which is absolutely something that we're not going to tolerate. So I think the message was clear, like it all takes all of us working together. It's a public street, it's all in parking. But if we consider about the people that live there and the people that support these parks, that whether it's Fazio or any number of other parks with my son, I spend a lot of weekend mornings and evenings on these fields. And we would just love everybody's help in communicating to not just your teams, but the teams you play in the other towns. Let them know that this is a concern, and we'd love to get around that. Thank you.
Just on a second, the family is neighbor, I didn't know it was coming here, so.
So the last thing I wanna put out there is that we're really thankful that you're all here, especially the Zoom people. But please make sure to sign in on the sheet book, as you head out, but that's
In the back of the room on the tall table.
Tall table, thank you.
Perfect, no, I think that's it, on the, Michelle and Cindy, anything you think we missed, or,
Hold on,
Thank you for
two
coming.
questions.
well, we got questions coming in. Oh, jeez.
Kids up there.
So question from the YMCA is if you have to cancel due to weather to get a makeup day, we're happy to help you reschedule anything at any time. Especially if it's only one day. And like I said, rugby, the school, so this is our assistant athletic director. And the second Wednesday in March is when the schools start practicing and start getting off turfs. All right, that's for you to close it out.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. Any other comments, please, reach out to us. We'd love to have a conversation with you. Okay, thank you all.